again for another episode of everyone's favorite interview show, Perfect Tattoo History. And I'm here this time with my good friend Yoni from, where are you from now, Yoni? It changes every fucking couple of years, so, you know. Where are you at now?
New Jersey.
New Jersey, originally from Israel, and of course, I can get behind that, you know what I mean? There's in tattooing, there's always been Jews, and the Jews have always kind of taken it forward a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I always like seeing that, like seeing the history of tattooing. So there's you have the Jew Alberts and a couple other characters, that were some of the first guys to really start making some dough too.
Yeah, it's funny. I never thought this when I got into tattooing. I didn't think it's the Jewish history. In recent history, you know what I mean?
Traditionally growing up where I was at, Northeast Philly, huge Jewish population, and it was always like, if you're Jewish, you don't get tattooed.
Yeah.
They'll never let you into a Jewish cemetery, but who the hell listens to that shit? So, Yoni does Tibetan tattoos, okay? And his work, man, he does some of the fucking nicest tattoos that are being done today. He's one of these guys, this is like taking it from this level and is bringing it up to this level. You know what I mean? This is one of these guys that pushes the fucking boundaries, And, it's like, I know about you because I know about fucking everybody, but I don't think enough people do know about you, And those are the guys that I'm good friends with, guys that I see that have a real heart in tattooing. I think those are the guys that need to be noticed the most. You know what I mean? Not these jackasses on TV and all the bullshit that's going on. So, my first question is, how the hell did you get started? How's a good little Jew boy from outside Tel Aviv get started in tattooing?
All right. So when I always was drawing since I think a lot of people in my generation of tattooers. We're always doodling in school, and we always were drawing, always like the artists in the class or in the family. And I think one time I had a friend, she was half American, half Israeli, and we didn't have magazines or no tattoos on the streets. You would never see it. It's really rare to see tattoos back then. So she came back with a magazine about music, hardcore music. Everyone was agnostic front and all. I was probably 13 or 12, I don't remember. But it was the article. The issue was on tattoos on the musicians, not about the music. It's about the tattoos of the musicians.
Of course, yeah, I remember those articles.
And that's when I really started seeing tattoos, and I was like, and all the drawing I used to do on paper, I started getting markers and drawing my friends' class. I used to bring the magazine to the school and just draw the bat thing that we have it on his chest and all this stuff. And I remember my parents used to give me trouble for that because their parents of the other kids used to call and like, oh, you have to make your son drawing with permanent markers on our kids, because it doesn't come off. But that's when I started, I really wanted to look like that. I wanted to be tattooed. Yeah, that's the only what I wanted to have. And so I wanted to get a tattoo since I was about 12 or 13. When I was 14, my brother was in the army and he told me that he had a guy in his army base and doing tattoos.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, can you ask him to do one on me? He's like, oh, he's not going to do it, you're too young. So for my birthday, I asked my brother, can you please convince your friend to tattoo me?
Sure.
So he gave him a call and my friend told me, okay, let him come. I came to the shop and he did a small tattoo on my arm.
And this guy had a shop?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, in Tel Aviv.
I know, did he have like a little shop on the base type thing?
No, he was a soldier, but I think that was probably after they got out of the army, he had a shop outside in Tel Aviv. And so I went and got my first tattoo, and I thought my parents would never see it. There's no way I'm going to wear a shirt, never going to take off the shirt. But the thing is,
always fucking do.
I was so excited, and I went to my friend's house, and I was like showing it to all my friends, and my friend's mom saw it, and she right away called my mom, and big deal about it. But I think by the time I was 19, I was pretty covered already. I had my arms done. I had one sleeve at 19. I think I got my second one. Before 20, I had two sleeves. I had my ribs. I was like legs. I went crazy until the age of 19. So I was pretty heavily tattooed in a country that is
You caught the sickness early. It's good.
Yes, and there's no many people with tattoos in Israel back then. So I was like alien on the street, you know,
Sure.
So yeah, but the shop I used to go get tattooed is one of the same guy. The second time I started looking at it better, you know, it was good, but I wanted to get someone. So there was one guy named Avi that he brought the professional tattooing into Israel in '93. He opened his shop, Psycho Tattoo in Tel Aviv, and that was. He was on TV and people they talk about him like, you know, like because he was kind of pushing the boundaries back then.
Sure.
He was the one who get all the.
There's always
flash.
one guy in each like country or part of the world that kind of brings it to the forefront.
Yes, he did. So he went to America. He came to America. He brought Flash from America. I remember we had JD Crow and all this stuff back in then. So he made the tattooing more what it should be. Look, you know, he brought it up more, and that's when I wanted to be. You know, I wanted to get tattooed there, and I wanted to be part of that shop. It was only maybe 3 shops in all of Israel, or 4 back then. So, but he's the one I wanted to learn from. So I started getting tattooed by him, and I came to him, and I remember I saved money. I saved a lot of money. I was working all the time. I was working since I was 9 years old. So by the age of 17, I had already like in my saving almost like $20,000. It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of fucking money now.
For 17 years old, you know,
years
from working so hard. So I came to him. I remember with that money in cash, and I put an envelope and I gave it to him. I said, "Take it, teach me the tattoo." And he looked at it and said, "No, I'm not teaching for money. I'm not teaching anybody, and I'm not teaching you." He gave me money back. And
that's a righteous dude.
Yes,
you know?
yes. And so I didn't know what to do, and I took that money and like, okay, I'm going to buy a one-way ticket. The only other tattooer I know, I didn't know about America back then. You know, I didn't know there's anything going on here with tattoos.
Yeah, you might as well have been to the moon.
Yeah. So the only person I knew is Hanky Panky. That's like the second famous person I know from the magazine and stuff. So I said, I'm gonna go to Hank's shop. I'm gonna ask him. I took all my drawings. I told my parents I'm not coming back.
So let me ask you a question. So you want to go see Hanky? How do you think your drawings are looking at this point?
I myself, I thought they're good.
Well, yeah, of course.
If I look at them,
you're looking at them,
but they weren't tattoo drawings. I didn't draw tattoo. I drew a lot of Robert Williams. I had Robert Williams' book, and I copied everything from his drawings. So that's my influence.
Because when you tell me the rest of the story, then I'm going to know where Hank's head was.
Yeah. He didn't even look at my drawing.
Well, I'm just saying.
I didn't get there with him. Excuse me. I came with a book full of drawings, but I didn't even look at them. So I remember I walked into Hank's shop, and I almost sure it was Permanent Mark was walking. I remember the neck tattoo. That's why I remember the neck tattoo for the guy.
Mark was another one I had to beg, borrow, and steal to get the fuck in there too, you know?
Yeah. So I came there and I didn't speak English, almost at all, like not just a few words. And I said, I want to be a tattoo artist. And I put my book, and Hank was walking by, and the guy said, hey, you want to look at his stuff? And then he said, no, I don't want to. Get the fuck out of here.
I wanted to do coke.
And he didn't even look at my book. So I kept coming to Hank every day, you know, just sitting there, but I wasn't welcome there. So, and I was young, so I started walking around, and there was only other tattoo shop I met, is Tattoo Peter. Also back in Amsterdam, there wasn't many tattoo shops. It was Hank and another shop or two.
There was that one other place.
There was an Argentinian guy, I remember he had a shop there too. But anyway, I went to Tattoo Peter, and I got intimidated. Then I walked in the door, I got intimidated because it was all old, like grandpa's age. You know, for me, I was 17. They all look like they probably were in the 70s. All the guys sitting there, they're all fully covered tattoos, and I was like, oh, they're never gonna teach me. So I just walked around. And then I went to the other shop that was, I think it was Argentina. He was actually looking at my drawing, and he told me I can come and sit there and draw every day. So anyway, for about a month, I spent about a month.
Foot in the door.
Yeah, every day sitting and drawing in his shop. And then he said there's no way I can. Also my language stuff. So anyway, I'll fast forward a little bit because. So from there, I realized after 2 months in Amsterdam in the winter, I realized it's not gonna happen to me, you know.
Right.
So I said I need to go to a different country. And in my head, I only knew another guy from the magazine was Tom Ptolemy. He was in England. He was famous back then too.
Sure.
I looked at the magazine. I see. Because I already had magazines when I got to Amsterdam. Over there you can find the magazine and stuff.
Of course. But see, here's the one thing that you don't see this anymore. You don't see fucking kids like you going out there and really going for it. And
Yeah.
finding, how am I going to,
When
I want to do this, I'm in love with this, how can I do
When
this?
I left Israel, I told everybody I know I'm coming back only as a tattoo artist.
Yeah.
And this is my word. I'm not coming back not a tattoo artist. That's not happening. So in my head, I knew there's no way I can go back to my country if I'm not tattooing. I already told everybody I'm a tattooer. I was keep saying it to people. What are you gonna? I'm gonna tattoo. I'm gonna tattoo. I'm gonna tattoo. So I put it in my head so much that there's no way I'm not. So anyway, long story short, I didn't have money. I had to fly, so I took a boat to England. But the boat brought me to like some small town.
Jews are very well known for being on boats a lot.
Yeah.
It beats taking a train.
And it was in the it was in the winter too, so there was like just me on the boat and the captain. But anyway, he dropped me off some very small town in England, and I don't speak English, no money on me, and it's my second country I'm traveling to, so I didn't know how to speak with people, what to say in the costume and stuff. So I said everything that can go wrong, that I should not say, I said.
Yeah.
I don't have money, I don't know anybody, all these things. Sorry, we can't let you in, but you came on a boat. There's no boat going back to Holland, and we can't let you into the country. So now we're in a problem. You have to they took me to jail until they're going to find a way to take me back to Amsterdam.
Wonderful.
The jail was empty. There was nobody there. Lucky for me, I guess.
Yeah,
the
lucky
cell
you,
was empty,
right?
but
I guess everybody was being a good boy that weekend.
Yeah. So I was there for like maybe, I think 3 days, and after 3 days they came to me and said, okay, we found someone going back to Amsterdam with the boat, he will give you a ride. I'm like, cool. Went back, then I realized that I spent all my money almost, you lose $20,000 easy if you pay for 2 months, 3 months in Amsterdam, it's like, so I started, my money is getting like, not as much that I thought I'm gonna have, and I thought I'm gonna go to Germany and go to a different job or whatever. But then what happened? They put a black stamp on my passport in England because I didn't let me in. So when I came back to Holland, the guy told me in the customs, listen, you won't be able to keep traveling like that with that stamp on your passport. No country will let you in if they see that England will let you in.
Right.
So you will have to go back to Israel to fix your passport, and then you can keep traveling. And I was like, I'm not going back to Israel. And, in my head, I'm not a tattoo artist.
Right. So what did you do? You go outlaw at this point, or what?
No, I thought I'm going to go to the embassy of Israel in Holland and try to do it there. So I went there the second day, and they told me it's going to take a long time. They told me you better go to Israel, do it there. It's going to be much quicker than here to get a new passport. In Israel, it's a 4-hour flight. So I realized, okay, it's over. I have to go back. And I was scared if I go back, there's no way I can leave again because I'm not going to have money to buy a ticket to leave Israel again. Sure. So I remember I went to the bar and I was like sitting in this small bar in Amsterdam. I've been there for 2 months now, so I know Amsterdam pretty well. So I found my local bar that I like, and that's where I used to go. So I was going there and I was sitting on the bar and I was crying like a little kid, like on the bar, like tears,
Sure.
And realizing that my dream is over. I'm not going to be a
tattoo
tattoo artist.
at the bar.
Yeah, and I was like, and I realized I'm going to be, different story, I was walking with horses before I became into tattooing, so I thought I'm going to be walking with horses for the rest of my life, that's what I'm going to do. And my dream, just like, I knew that it's over, in my head, it's not happening for me. So while I was sitting there, some guy came behind me and it's like, hey, Yoni, and it's like tapping on my shoulder. I'm looking back, I'm like, who knows my name here? And it's like, I see it's that guy Avi, the first guy in Israel that I wanted him to teach me, and I offered him money.
Yeah, sure.
He got lost and he walked into a bar to ask someone where is the hotel or whatever, and he saw me, recognized me because he tattooed me a bunch, So he's like, hey, what are you doing here? And I was like, and in my head, I couldn't understand what's going on here. I thought it's got staged or something because how did this guy end up in this bar right now?
Don't try to figure it out. That's just how tattoo shit works, brother.
Yes. And I was like,
that's your tattoo magic, man.
And I told him like, what are you doing here? And he's like, oh, I'm just, looking for, I'm like, man, I've been here for 2 months. I'm trying to be a tattoo artist. He's like, really? He told me like, I didn't know you're that serious. I'm like, what are you talking about? I gave you an envelope full of money. How much more serious that you can get?
You want me to put a gun to your fucking face next time?
So he was pretty impressed by it. And then we start, I stayed in Amsterdam with him because he was there. He didn't know much about the city and stuff. So I kind of I show him around, I took him all the places I knew.
Yeah. Good for you, man.
And we did mushrooms together and we smoked and we can be friends,
Yeah, good.
But he still said he won't teach me. After all that, but in my head I knew there's no way. He didn't realize what important moment he walked in on.
Yeah, of course.
It's the moment I said no,
Yeah,
myself.
He's fucked. He's stuck with you at this point.
And then I knew if he just came into this, that's it. He's my teacher. I'm gonna be a tattoo artist. All my worries disappeared. Everything. I just like that. I knew I'm gonna be a tattoo artist from that moment. So I went back to Israel and I just became to be that guy that come into his shop every day, sitting at the door, on the floor, and waiting for him to ask me to do something.
No, I understand that completely.
Seriously, people call me an idiot and do boy and this and that, like making fun of me because I was just sitting there all day, like.
It's okay.
And the guy that walked there, the tattoo was like, "Why are you doing here again? You go home, go find a job." I'm like, "No, I'm sitting here."
I found one. Day he asked
me for a coffee, and it was the best day of my life. He asked me to get him a coffee. I remember, and I was like, "Wow, that's mean he acknowledged me."
That's it.
Anyway, that's passed through, and it was about after a year, I think, that I was just working all night, and during the day I was just sitting there waiting for him to tell me to do something. Then he started telling me, "Oh, can you straighten up the catalogs or whatever?" And I started doing that. And then like, "Oh, go get me lunch," And then I realized, okay, he started asking me stuff, and it's one step forward.
Yeah.
From then, it took about 4 years until he actually gave me a machine and stuff. Oh no, not 4 years. In those 4 years of apprenticeship, I did tattoo already, but it took 4 years to really settle in there, and be part of that shop,
That's okay. Yeah.
So I think it was 97 when he didn't let me tattoo, and his wife was pregnant, and she was delivering in the hospital, I remember, and this guy came in and wanted a tattoo, and he wanted only me to do it, because he know me from Tel Aviv and from the base and all that stuff, so I told him, "I can't, I'm not a tattoo artist." And he said, "Give me the phone." And he called my boss, like, "I want him to tattoo me, and I want Yoni to do it." So that's my first tattoo, my first experience. From then on, I started learning to tattoo, So yeah, that's how I got into tattooing, and
Well, good. That's that's what that's what it takes to make it in this business is perseverance. That perseverance, like, man, you're about a dick hair away from giving up, and then boom.
Yeah, and people always tell.
And then it saved your fucking life.
And now when I have the restaurant and all that stuff, I always teach my employees how to clean the toilet, because there's no one clean toilet better than me. I'm a tattoo artist. That's what I tell you.
Right, yeah, exactly.
And nobody.
Like people get offended. You tell them to clean something now, and it's like that's. How are we going to learn to run a tattoo joint on your own?
Yeah, it starts from the bottom.
The bottom up, man. From the front to the back.
But
of the
everything
shop.
you learn, even the Tibetan art, I think I learn in similar way, because I learn it from ground up.
Sure. So dig, right? You got your foot in the door. You're learning here, and how do you get around the world? How do you meet people like me? How do you meet people like Danny Boy? How are you meeting all these people? And who's introducing you to the Tibetan art, or is it an interest that you already have? And where do you find the guy that teaches you? How are these things coming up for you?
So that guy Avi, he was very well known in Europe back in the day. It was him. He was in the same group as Klaus Forman.
Yeah, I remember the guy.
And then Nobi from Sweden, and so. They used to do a lot of conventions, Frankfurt, Berlin, Stockholm, all those conventions in Europe. So I was tagging along all the time because I was an apprentice now. So so I met so many amazing people through that trip in Europe, like Theo Jack and the names are just endless.
All the names that were names then.
Yes, endless amount of great people that I was happy to meet, and Henning and all those guys, all in convention in Europe. And that's how I met people there. But then one time we came to the first New York convention. We came in 97, I think. 97, the first New York convention, So we came, and I remember I came and I saw everybody have like neck tattoos, and it's the first time
that's when that Horicho book came out.
Yes.
So I was the first one standing there waiting for that book.
Yeah, I was younger.
Shimada, remember Shimada? From Japan, he was putting out the books for him. He was like the major. Shimada was the major book guy. The company that put that book out was this old, dirty, unkempt guy, Japanese guy. But he was putting out, killer books. Yeah. And we knew that that book was going to be there, and Horicho was going to be
It's
there.
funny,
with
I know that
Zoe.
guy Shimano now when he's saying in the
Yeah.
books. I remember it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
I do remember the guy.
so that, that was, we were sitting there, I mean, I bought everything,
Yeah.
I probably spent at least like two grand in books.
Yeah. So
You
this
know?
is still when I was an apprentice, so I wasn't there to buy stuff. I didn't have the money.
Yeah,
or
sure,
any stuff,
sure.
So I was just like,
Well, I was tattooing, I had tons of money. So.
yeah.
So you're there, you get the first New York convention.
Yeah, and that's when I met a lot of other people, of course, that from America, that I
Sure.
didn't met. Like, I met Bill Salmon in New York convention. I met a lot of great people then. And
I went out and had pizza with Bill at that convention.
yeah, that's later on. I became to be more close friends with him, and we used to hang out after the convention. But yeah, that's in the beginning. Yeah, so that's when I started really liking New York more, and after the convention I said I'm going to come every year for that convention now, and I did. I came the year after again.
And things were changing for you though, huh?
Yeah, I started tattooing, so I started making some money back then in Israel. And,
Yeah,
and in Israel then, it's before 2000, it was 98 I think, there was still line out the door.
Yeah, hell yeah it was.
I was tattooing non-stop, at least between 12 to 18 tattoos a day. That's what I did when I started. So I carpal tunnel and everything I got in the beginning, I just didn't stop tattooing all day. So that was great to
Make
be
sure you
that
just
young.
makes you a good tattooer.
Yeah.
The more you do of anything, the better you're gonna get at it.
Yeah.
So when do you start developing this love for all things Tibetan?
That's when I think I met Philip Blue the first time. I started really, of course, Philip do a lot of Tibetan art, and even he tattooed his mother. She had a beautiful Tibetan, I think it's Avalokitesvara. It's like a big bodhisattva on her back, and I saw
So
that.
hold on, say what that is slower though.
Avalokitesvara. It's the bodhisattva with the
Well, so
the
people that are
1,000
watching know what the
hands.
fuck you're talking about.
Yeah, it's the 1,000 hands.
Gotcha.
So she comes in different forms. It can be like 8 or 6 hands too. But so I saw Tibetan books at his studio when I went, and also back then his apprentice was Tibetan guy. He wasn't. He grew up in Switzerland, but he's Tibetan heritage, and he was doing a lot. His name is Rinzing. I don't think I ever said it, but he's probably the one that influenced me the most in the beginning of my tattooing, looking at Tibetan art. He was an apprentice, but he was doing an amazing Tibetan drawings.
Doesn't matter. Look, doesn't matter their station. There's always that one person that does it for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It kind of makes you want to do something that maybe you thought you couldn't do.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So yeah, we were painting together, and I saw his work a lot, and that's when I started kind of leaning into. I started buying books about Tibetan art when I came to New York, and
those encyclopedias must have blown your mind.
yes,
You know?
yes, it was, and I actually did. I remember the first time I did actually a half sleeve from that encyclopedia. I did a half sleeve, and I remember it was Chris O'Donnell who came to me. He was working with me at the time, and he saw that. He's like, "This is my favorite tattoo you did since I know you."
Wow.
And I was like, "Wow, that's a big compliment." And he said, "I think the Tibetan art that you do is really unique. You should keep doing it, push it, And I listened to him, and I said, okay, I start drawing a lot of Tibetan drawing, and I start copying a lot from books. But as the time passed, I realized that I can't, everybody around me, that's already when I started walking the door, but everybody around me, there's a Japanese specialized person, there's a traditional Americana tattooer, there's everybody have their own thing.
Sure.
And I wanted to create my own thing as well, but I didn't want to create all my own thing copied from books. It didn't feel right for me.
Right.
Like there's one, I'm going to get to the end of the book and that's it. What I'm going to do then?
Well, then that's when you really start developing your own style.
Yeah, yeah. I just feel like that Tibetan art has so much. When you look at it and look at books, it's kind of overwhelming the amount of stuff you have in every book. It's a lot.
What really gets me
down.
about it is like something like the preciseness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And and all that, it's all by hand. There's not guys sitting there with like little rulers and stuff.
Yeah, and most of them, if they done before 1959, they'll be done only in the daylight. There's no lamps and no light, so they start. And the amount of work they produce, it's crazy. It's like there's one artist can have thousands of paintings in his lifetime.
Sure.
Thousands, not hundreds. And it's amazing the amount of they produce for the short amount of daylight they have. With they don't have art stores and stuff, they have to make everything there. They have to make everything from the paper to the
Yeah.
brush, everything they make by hand, the
But
colors.
you know how that goes. You know, after a while, it's just so fluid.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, like I mean, you know, like you know, my thing is the American traditional stuff. After a while, it just flows.
Yeah, yeah,
Has that natural flow to it,
Yeah.
and everything just goes super fast,
yeah.
and you're understanding it the whole time you're doing it. You
That's
know?
what my teacher always said. I'm teaching you to have it from inside, like that it's gonna flow out of you. It doesn't have
Yeah.
something that it's ingrained the studying in me, the traditional way, you know. So
Sure.
I feel like the way I study to do Tibetan art is I don't think there's a lot of Westerners. Maybe there is today because I do see some people, but I don't know if they go study the same way. But it's hard, you know. It's really for me Tibetan art is almost like if I equivalent to tattooing. There's so much shit in Tibetan art as well, you know. Like there's so many not good artists, but because people not knowing about Tibetan art enough to understand this is good and this is bad.
Of course, so it's the same
And
with
the same with tattooing.
Tattooing, it's
Yes,
there's
because
tons of
the
shit.
regular
tattoos,
people
yeah.
will look at the bad tattoo, will say this is beautiful.
Of course.
It's exactly the same in Tibetan art. When people show me sometime a drawing or painting that they bought in Nepal from an old man, always say, oh, and like they look at it, it's really bad, but I can't, you know, they're so excited about it.
Yeah.
They're
You
like,
wanna
yes,
shit on
it's,
the
yeah,
parade,
yeah. So I'm like, yes, it's cool.
See, I'm that
But-
guy. I'm the parade shit.
Yeah, but no, some people show me stuff that actually they are cool, but
Yeah,
but
yeah.
the majority of the thing that comes out these days
Yeah,
is
garbage.
crap. Yeah.
So, so who's the cat that's teaching you all this stuff?
So my teacher, his name is Pema Rinzing, and he grew up in India. He was born in Tibet and grew up in India. He was an art teacher all his life in schools. Since he was young, he was also a prodigy in drawing. He was studying anime drawing and a lot of other stuff, and he became to be an art teacher. And eventually, after years, he was focusing on the Western art more, like Italian artists
Sure.
and Da Vinci and Picasso and stuff.
The Renaissance
But he's
painters
Tibetan, so
yeah.
eventually he decided he wanted to start studying the Tibetan art. So he went. He had a teacher as well. His teacher is still alive actually, but his teacher is probably I know it. When his teacher will pass away, it's going to be the end of the real masters of Tibetan art. My teacher is, I see my teacher as a master, but he's a master of any like contemporary, and but there's a generation of artists that's dying today that when they go, it's gone.
And they have
The real-
disciples or anything?
No,
Really?
no, because Tibetan art doesn't bring any money. Nobody pays for Tibetan art anymore.
Right.
Like if people can sit 6 months do a painting, people are not gonna pay more than 3,000-4,000 for it. So it
Right.
doesn't worth to anybody to do that. So nobody really go and study. Like yes, people say yes in Nepal that people are studying and go to school and stuff, but it's still not
And it's
directly
just
from
like
the
anything
masters.
else. I mean, everything's motivated by money, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
So-
and I think that's, and my teacher always said that also in Tibetan art there's no name. You can't trace back who painted this, who did this.
Yeah.
So
styles
there's
and-
nothing
yeah.
for it. For an artist, he doesn't get money. His name
So no
doesn't.
fame or fortune.
Yes,
Yeah,
nothing.
No fame or fortune.
Yeah.
It's just I guess you have to. That's one thing where you have to love it.
Yeah.
You
If I wasn't a
there's no love, then
tattooer,
you're
if
screwed.
I wasn't a tattooer, nobody will know about my Tibetan drawings. You know,
I mean, it
nobody
doesn't-
will care.
yeah.
But
Well,
my
maybe,
tattooing
maybe
brings the
this
stage
is-
away.
Maybe this is the kind of thing that does bring it from there.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah, so-
I actually went to India with all my studying. I went to meet the Dalai Lama. I wanted to ask almost kind of a permission in a way, because I'm a Westerner first of all,
Sure.
and I'm using sacred art for other people. So I wanted to actually ask kind of a permission, and my teacher have connection to because he was painting in a temple of the Dalai Lama in India, and we went together. We didn't manage to meet directly the Dalai Lama, but we sat in his house for lunch and met with the big one, the second command, you can say, whatever, like a big Lama of India. and very respectful.
You met the Lama Lama Ding Dong.
Yes, yes. Bodyguards, the whole
Yeah,
deal,
yeah,
you know,
course,
like
of course, yeah.
a very, very important person.
Believe me, he's got a big racket he's got to protect over there.
Yeah, it's
too,
like
so-
meeting a senator
Of course.
in America.
Yeah, of course.
So, but he's a very religious leader there, and I did show him all my drawings, and we talked about it, and I told him that I'm a tattoo artist, and he said he very excited about it, because if I'm a tattoo artist, people that never know about Tibetan art will learn about Tibetan art through
Exactly,
me.
it's
And
fantastic.
he said this is good for
It's
art.
beautiful. Yeah.
So he actually, there was some limitation that we talked about, and he told me he wouldn't like to see a Buddha on somebody's foot or on a butt, you know, because
Of
it's a
course.
religious
It's just
sacred
disrespectful.
thing.
Yeah.
So it's disrespectful to do that. So of course I said that stuff I won't do, and I actually myself I rather not tattoo
No,
a
why would
religious
you?
image like a Buddha.
Sure.
I will do it if someone has the certain right reasons, you know, like if they grew up in a Buddhist house and it's what they know and it's
Well,
remember.
you better sell it pretty good to you know.
Yes,
You gotta really
yes.
sell that idea.
I usually don't refuse tattoos because eventually I don't
Yeah.
forget that I'm a tattoo artist.
Exactly.
But
You don't
I
do
will-
it, someone else will. you
Yeah,
know?
yes. So I always try to educate and tell them what I think about it. And if they say, usually they say, you're right, we're not going to do it. But if they
Sure.
still say, I really want it, that's what I want to do, I'm like, okay, I'll do it. Maybe I'll do it in a way that is not going to be the 100%.
Look, man, you know,
Perfect
like, and that's another thing that's lacking these days in tattooing, which is, look, man, and that's ethics, and that's for guys like us to instill in younger guys too. Like we need to go and talk to these guys. Like, hey, man, there's just certain shit you don't do,
Yeah.
and this is why. You know, there's one thing to say, don't do this, but they won't. Why shouldn't I do this?
I have a great example actually from a few weeks ago. This Tibetan kid came to me. I get a tattoo. That's also flattering. The Tibetan people come to get tattooed by
That's
me.
amazing. That's
And,
amazing.
and
yeah.
they grew up with that art, and they have their own people they can get tattooed by. And he told me, I have a friend who's a tattooer, but they can see the quality of the drawing that
That you're doing. Yeah.
not to go smoke up my ass, but when you see my drawing, you wouldn't know a Westerner drew it if you're Tibetan.
Look, man, I'm looking at this stuff over here, and it's just, you know, this it just blows me away, man. You know, that this is coming out.
Yeah, but it's
you
come
know?
from studying
Yeah, of
a
course.
lot of
Yeah,
studying.
It doesn't just happen.
But that example is that kid doesn't have a tattoos on him, and he had a birthmark here, and he asked me to cover it.
Really?
And I told him, listen, the birthmark is not that prominent. You don't really see it much, and with tattoo you will see way more. And you don't have tattoos, so maybe you should let me do your forearm or something, and then we'll go back to your neck next
Yeah,
time.
sure.
And he told me, no, I want only on my neck. I want just to cover this. I said, I'm not going to do it, but I will do it for you if you come back in 2 years and ask me again. 2 years passed by, and sure enough, it was 2 months ago. He came to 5 points and
Wow.
told me, I'm back. It's been 2 years. Will you do it now? And I did it. I did a
Good.
big tattoo on his neck. Like, he's so happy. He's very everything.
Good.
But at least I knew.
And he persevered. He didn't get someone else
He
to
thought
do
about
it
it for
him.
2 years, you know.
Yeah,
and he
yeah,
could, that's a good example of someone that actually thought about it, and
Exactly.
I felt complete doing it.
Exactly.
You know, I didn't feel like I made a mistake. He had 2
I
years.
tell people, you know, people would come into the shop, and there would be a line in the shop or whatever, and I want to get this today, and if I don't get this today, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I said, you waited this long,
Yeah.
so even if you had to wait another day, would it kill you?
I always tell him, once the tattoo
Yeah.
on you, you're never gonna remember what day you got it. or
Yeah.
when.
Or
It's
what do
at
you
the time.
what the hell does it matter?
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, you're in the thick of this shit now. You know what I mean? Like you're a young guy right now, and I mean, this is where you're really you mastered a lot of things. You know, you're not at the end where you've mastered it all,
But
but you
people say-
mastered how to do this thing. So now it's time to really make your mark. You know what I mean? Like, how are you going to do this? How are you going to make your mark? Because there's so many fucking guys doing this. I already see it. I mean, I can see where you can be.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, I'm just looking at some of the stuff that you're doing, and no one's doing this.
Yeah. I'm
They're
still.
not. No one's fucking doing this. Dude. I'm
I-
telling you right now, no one's fucking doing this kind of shit. This kind of stuff you're showing me over here.
Yeah, and
this is
my
ridiculous.
stuff you can see only in person, because if I show you a photo of it, you wouldn't see
No,
it.
hell no. But it's just no one's doing it. So where do you see you in 5 years, maybe?
Honestly, I don't have much hope that people will eventually understand it. I feel like you have to understand Tibetan art to appreciate what I do. So there is the group of people in the world, because of Instagram I know, and they look at Tibetan art more and more and more, and they can see what I do and see the difference what I do and what other people do.
Well, you do like not maybe not even tattooing. I'm saying like you see yourself as the forthcoming of the Lama or some shit like that. Or,
No,
like, do you see like
no.
what do you, I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like where is this going to lead to something, or are you just gonna you just want to be like a tattooer that just gets better and better and better, and a Tibetan artist that gets better, or?
Yeah, I would like Tibetan. I'm happy to see something. I look at and I see people copy something I did, or look at it directly, and I'm happy about it.
Yeah, it's a form of flattery, of course.
Yeah, and not just flattery. I also see that it's getting better. You know what I mean? Like that. It's what brings Tibetan art up will bring me up eventually too, because I'm part of it. So.
I mean, you may be the catalyst for everything.
Yeah, I do feel like that maybe in years from now, people will look back, and I do think that I brought a lot to the table in a Tibetan style.
Hell yeah, man.
Because there's no Tibetan tattoos really. There's no tattoo culture.
There's guys using Tibetan elements in tattooing.
Yeah, but
there's no one doing like a whole thing of like how you're putting this together.
There's no tattoos in a Tibetan people culture. It's Buddhist.
Yeah.
Doesn't believe in having a tag on your shirt.
Sure.
So there's nothing to say about tattoos. So they don't have it in their culture. So people sometimes say it's Tibetan tattoo. I call it Tibetan style tattoo. Because there's Japanese tattoos, there's American tattoos, there's European tattoos, there's no Tibetan tattoos because nobody made it, Yeah. In Tibet. It's not from their culture.
No, it's not.
But I think Tibetan style tattoo, all my work influenced from Tibetan art, that's, and it's all influenced from my studying. A lot of it influenced directly from my teacher, and a lot of it is stuff I developed from my studying. But it's the same as any other school in Japan.
Just from hanging with you a little bit, there's like little things that I've learned, and little elements in that tattoo, or the tattoo design actually. Yeah. That probably I would have never seen just from looking at the Tibetan encyclopedia. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like you're that guy, man. The responsibility is yours right now. Yeah. It really is. And maybe a heavy duty thing to hear, but it is, man. Because you decided to do it. You put the work in. This shit's on you now.
Sometimes my customers tell me they walk on the street and they're really surprised when all Tibetan people stop them. Yeah. The Tibetan people doesn't care about tattoos, but they see them walking by.
You don't see the writing on the wall then?
Yeah, they walking by.
I'm trying to tell you something here. You know what I mean? I'm seriously trying to tell you that this is your shit, dude.
Yeah,
this is on you.
And I feel like it didn't come to me in a flash or in one day.
Of course not. Nothing ever. It always seems that way to people that are on the outside looking in.
And right now when I'm sitting here, I'm not saying okay, I made it. That's it. Now I'm taking the Tibetan. I'm still a student. I'm still studying a lot.
But you know what, dude? It's all right once in a while to fucking sit back and be like, just to yourself.
Yeah.
I'm the shit. You know what I mean? It's not so bad. You know what I mean? Once in a while, you gotta give yourself a goddamn break.
I was the guy, the young guy in the group all the time. Yeah. In tattooing, especially.
Of course.
Everybody I hung out with in tattooing world was always older than me. Mm-hmm. There was all the people around me. And it's hard for me to feel, because you always know that you are the young guy, in everything. And I'm happy about it because also someone told me that you master when you master the art of studying. And it's true. You need to learn to study before you do something else, and that's what.
Man, I never and I'm sure I know you don't. Is that you never? It's like when you would study in high school and stuff, you would just dread having to learn this shit over and over and over in order to pass a test or whatever. Now you're doing it for the sheer joy of unlocking secrets. That you've been looking for in a certain medium, and it's completely different now.
You just mentioned school, and I just remember that I was really bad in school. I didn't want to study anything in school. But one time my teacher, I remember I was young, my teacher was talking down on me in front of the class because she hated me. All my classes were failed. I didn't want to learn. And she talked down at me, and I told her in the class, I'll prove you that you're wrong and I'm not stupid. And in 2 months, I brought all my grades from 4 to 10. All my grades.
Yeah.
It's across the board. All of them were 10. I, for 2 months, studied everything, and I did all the tests, and I proved to her that I'm a good student if I want to.
Right.
But I told, after 2 months, she told me, I can't believe, and she was crying, like, I can't believe you did that. I thought, yeah, I just wanted to show you. Now I'm going back to the same
Yeah,
place
now
before.
I'm gonna smoke dope.
Yeah, because I don't give a shit about this study.
Yeah, because
and
it's bullshit in the end.
and,
you know?
and if it's something I really want to and I put my mind to, I'll go for it. And I think it's a good advice for anybody.
Absolutely, you gotta. You gotta find your own path in this,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
And don't try to do everything. Like I need to see some Instagram people, tattoo artist, DJ, photographer.
Yeah.
So then yes, you do all of this, but you're not doing good any of it. I think if you concentrate in the thing you really want to do,
Sure.
you'll
See,
get
man, I
there.
mean, I do a bunch of things, but music I've done since I was a kid.
Yeah.
Drawing since I was a kid. I've done all these things.
Let's
I've
go
always
together a
done.
lot.
Yeah. Those things, they all went together. But like, man, you know, you should concentrate yourself on something and be a master of something instead of just trying to do everything, and then if something clicks, then go for that.
And I feel like what's good the way it happened to me is that I went to Tibetan art after I was a tattooer already, and after I did everything, not everything, but I did a lot of different style in tattooing. So if you ask me to do a traditional tattoo, maybe I'm not going to do it as good as you, but I will pull it off, I think, pretty clean.
You don't want to do tattoos like that.
And
you know
what I mean? Like I can do other stuff, so I feel like it's good to go.
Yeah, but see, you're also, but you gotta understand, you're a master craftsman too, and that's what tattooing. It's a craft. Like, you know what goes into those tattoos, so you can pull them off. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I always see like people that start and they do only one thing right off the bat, and I feel like that's wrong because what happens if not going to be in a trend in 3 years, and what are you going to do? You have to start learning all over again. So maybe.
Yeah, man, I see these cats that they do the same tattoo every tattoo.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of guys.
That's okay if you know to do everything else.
But that's not the case.
Yeah.
you know it's not the case. But you know, there's some there's cats that do that, and they don't know how to do anything, and you can't tell any of the tattoos apart.
Mm-hmm.
You used to be able to, like, say if you looked at a magazine, you wouldn't even have to look at whatever the photo credits said because you knew who did the fucking tattoo.
Yeah.
You know, there's telltale signs. Same with the flash. You know, like the way people drew. People had their own little styles.
Yeah.
You know, and there was little things that they would put in there that would give it away.
Yeah.
And you just don't see those little signatures anymore. You know.
That's tracing mostly.
It is tracing,
I think
and
every
like I said,
tattoo
you know,
that
it's
you're not going to trace and just look and draw it, it will be
it's a lot
yours
of
eventually. because-
what you see now is a lot of laziness.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of guys, they want recognition without work. You know, they don't want to put the work in, but they want to get their dick sucked.
Yeah, it's
you
like
know?
one guy came to the shop one time, asked for 2 sleeves, but asked them to look old already. He said, "Can you make them look old?"
Of course.
I was like, what is that?
I think the only thing that does that is time. You know.
But he wanted to be one of those cool old guys that have old tattoos. You know?
But you have to have the experiences to go along with it too. You have to have the journey in life to go through that. And people really don't, you know.
Yeah.
So now, you got a fucking killer life. You know what I mean? If you really think about it, maybe not. You don't have everything you want, but you sure as hell do have everything.
From where I started, I'm pretty happy.
I would be too, man. I mean, you got a good gig going on here, and you know, just tons of talent. You know, you're a fucking sweetheart. You know, you're one of these guys that like you're enjoyable to be around. You know what I mean? It's like you're positive. It's like, you know, it's some people, man. We sat here, we talked all goddamn day today.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it just gone by like that.
Yeah.
And that's what happens when.
And I'm so happy you came here. Because I
course,
was able to come here because, like I say, I have so much work, and just for my work you can see my study and I have tons more I didn't show you, but when you look at
throughout, you know, you guys aren't gonna miss hopefully too much of this stuff because we'll try to get some of this close up as we're talking about it, and you'll see this throughout the video.
Yeah.
So, but most of it is you're selling a lot of original artwork.
The problem is my drawings. The one you have on the wall, they just took so long to make that I can't sell them. I'm not gonna get a price they're worth for me.
Sure.
So yes, but I do smaller drawings. I'm trying to do more and more now when the holidays come, so you have more time.
You do that, get an art agent. I mean, this is like, seriously, man. Like, you need to have someone like backing you. That's like you're not fucking around, dude. I'm serious. Like, this isn't some bullshit tracing fucking shit. This is a real deal, man.
Yeah.
This guy is the real deal. The rest of you should be fucking ashamed of yourself that you're not fucking working like this son of a bitch right here, because he's really fucking killing it, man. Like, it gets me inspired to see shit like that. I need to see that stuff still. You know, see,
I have pictures of me like sitting on the floor with my 3-month-old baby on my side, and I'm just going to class. I used to go to class like it's almost starting all over again, my apprenticeship, because my teacher is a artist, the Tibetan painter. He's not giving me any breaks. He was giving me the runs, like run around to get to be a student and to earn what I did. He didn't just give it to me. So it wasn't easy. I felt like, again, being an apprentice. Like,
but
years
that's good,
after I
man,
was
because that means you're hungry.
Yeah.
You feel that hunger, like you really want it, man. You want to fucking get it.
Yeah.
And the only way to do
believe
that
that if you do something, do it right.
Yeah.
No half-ass. I don't cut corners.
It's painfully obvious you don't.
Yeah.
It really is. Like I said, I look at it as
But I always say that people like me or like that, they're not as successful financially because I don't cut corners.
Sure, but it's, it ain't always about the money, man.
Yeah, it's not. It's not. I'm happy where I'm at, and I wouldn't. I have kids now, and honestly, I wouldn't want my kids to grow up rich. I want my kids to be a rich kids. I seriously don't want them. And if
what's a couple of spoiled brats? You know what I mean? Like, that's even harder to deal with. You know?
They can see the struggle the same. Not as I saw way more struggle than what they see, but
it's supposed to get better each little generation for your kids, or everybody wants better for their kids. That's just the way it is, And what tattoo is going to be any different? So do you? I mean, where do you like? I mean, you traveled a long road to get to here, but you still got a road to travel because you're still a fairly young man. You know what I mean?
Maybe I don't have white hair, but I'm not that young anymore.
Well, look, you're not old either. You know what I'm saying? Which is good. You're still healthy. You know what I mean? You're raising kids. That's like I think at some point that and tattooing goes a little bit here, and then your family comes a little bit here. And then as you get older, then you kind of go back to that as well.
Yeah.
There's that time where I guess you'll see that as you get older. But where do you think it ends? Just you're dead and that's it, or what? I mean,
I don't know. I'm a workaholic. My hardest day of the week is my days off. It's my hardest day.
Yeah, I know, man.
So I always say I'm waiting for the day that I can sit in Costa Rica on the beach and retire somewhere there. But it's almost like a fantasy that I won't be able to do because mentally I won't be able to. So it's like something in my head that I want to do, but I know that I need to work. Like I always need to do something. My wife learned to know that already, and she gave me that time to do it. But yeah, if I sit, I can't sit around. Even if
wheels are always spinning.
I never went to the beach and sat under an umbrella in my life.
Never, me neither.
I never read a book in a park. And I never have the time that people told me, oh, I'm not sure what I'm going to do today. I'm like, how do you have a day like that?
I don't, dude.
I never.
I don't fucking know. I couldn't. You're asking these questions. I'm like, they're foreign to me.
Yes,
man.
because, and I don't know if I'm jealous of the people that can do it, but honestly, I just can't do it. I'm just very handsy. I'm like, I need to do something. Like we went to Thailand for 2 months, me and my wife, And the only I went did Muay Thai or boxing or something just because I needed to do something, you know, not because I want to be a fighter or anything. I just wanted to learn something to be occupied, you know.
You know, you gotta go, you gotta go on these fucking trips with these broads sometimes. And it's like they cut you off. You can't go to the tattoo shop. You can't,
Oh, yeah.
They want us to money to spend. I'm like, yeah, but there's tattooers in
I
this
always
town.
say-
It's like there's tattooers here that I know I need to meet.
It's funny
you know?
because when I see people they say they're going to travel somewhere, I'm like, oh, you're gonna go check out this tattoo shop. I'm like, oh, I'm not going to tattoo trip. I'm like,
how? Why not?
Like, why not?
Yeah.
Like, I'm having fun going to the tattoo shop. Like, for me, it's a fun thing to do. Like, it's not like a burden.
Dude, I can go in and I've never met a motherfucker in my
Yeah.
life, right?
I'll spend.
But by the time I get out of that tattoo shop, we're old friends.
Yeah, and
you know what I mean?
seriously, there's trips I'm going in Europe and other places that I seriously sit in tattoo shop all day.
That's it.
And I just like doing it.
I love it.
I don't know why, but I'm just like being there.
Yeah,
So
did you go out? You know, of course you do some sightseeing and
Yeah,
do
yeah,
some.
here and there, but-
You gotta fucking explore. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, you're an asshole if you don't do that. You know, each place has its own beauty to it and own little exclusivity to it. You know, little things that you're not gonna find anywhere else in the world.
it's
but
funny
that
because
place.
now when I go everywhere, I'm like, because I have kids, every time I'm not gonna go now. I'll wait until I go with my kids. But it's never really happened that I can take into all places I go.
Yeah, sure.
Like every place I go, even Paris, I never seen anything in Paris. Yeah, Eiffel Tower, nothing, because I'm gonna wait for my kids to come.
Dude, this is what dude, we were in Paris the other year, and we go we get to the Eiffel Tower. So all these guys trying to sell you fucking bullshit there. You gotta go through all this fucking security. So I go underneath the thing and I'm looking up. I'm like, I get it. Let's go. What the fuck am I gonna do up there that I can't do here? You know what I mean?
Yeah, and honestly, like when
Like, I honestly didn't feel like I missed out either. I was
and
like,
I don't see the point of taking photos even because I'm like, it's not the same as real life. Like, why would I want to sit home and look at the photos? It doesn't really make sense for me.
oh
need
yeah, I
be in
went
that
to
place.
the Eiffel Tower. Big
Yeah.
fucking deal. You
Yeah.
know, like.
But as a kid, I know just looking at my kids, see how much they enjoying looking at that will make me have fun, you know.
Absolutely.
So that's when I.
Yeah, you get a lot of. I think you know when you're a father, you get more joy out of their joy.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, because all the other trips people say it's work trip, but for me it's not work. For me it's way of life in a way.
Of course. You know, tattooing, man. Just tattooing has given you everything that you dreamed of. You know. I never dreamed. For a minute when I was a kid that I would travel the world and be and tattoo on every fucking goddamn continent almost, and go to just about every country that you can think of, you know, and tattooing opened every door for that, every single door.
One thing I skipped when I was a kid when you're just saying that, I met when I got the tattoo on my arm, I was 14, but when I was 14 I looked like I'm 10. I was so small, I was tiny, looked like really young. So I walked on the beach and this guy, old man, just stopped me. He's like, hey kid, come here, because he saw me with the tattoo. So he didn't understand how a young kid like me had a tattoo on him. Who did that tattoo on you? He's kind of like mad, you know. Like, I told him, I got in Tel Aviv, and he's like, oh, you want to see what his real tattoos? I'm like, yeah. So he pulled up his pants and he has legs covered with full small tattoos, all Hawaii signatures and all over the world, China, Hong Kong, Japan, everything. That guy was Sailor David Moskowitz.
Oh yeah.
I didn't know.
I got a bunch of his cards too.
Yeah, so I saw him on the beach, and then when I saw the signatures on all his tattoos, and he showed me it was everywhere in the world. And that's what I wanted to do. In that age, I saw that, I'm like, I want to live like that. I want to be traveling the world. I want to get tattoos everywhere I go.
That pirate slave, bro.
And I do have tattoos from all over the world. And it's something that if I look back, I'm like, it's something that I never thought it's going to happen, but it's what I wanted to happen.
Oh, yeah. Well, look, man. I'm glad we got to sit down and talk. You're one of my favorite guys in this business. You really are. There's so much positivity with you, and you're just really you're doing great things, man. And I'm excited to see what else is coming out of here.
Yeah,
you know?
thank you.
So I thank you for sitting down, and we'll check in a couple of years, brother. All right.
Thanks.
That's it.